Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp.com, and I've been with them for a long time. BetterHelp is an online platform where we found that you can effectively communicate with your therapist. Now, you begin by filling out a questionnaire, and then you'll be matched with a therapist within a couple of days. And if that match isn't ideal for you, you can certainly make an adjustment there. Now, you're going to be encouraged to journal, and also they have the availability for group therapy on a wide array of topics, and I really like that. So as the need exists, go ahead and take the necessary steps to get the help that you need. And just know that BetterHelp has a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, so it indeed is a platform you can trust. There's a link below the video that will take you there. Hey, Team Healthy. Glad to be with you on yet another of our episodes of Unbound. Keep in mind that these are the episodes where I respond to comments and questions that you all leave in the comment section. So if you have anything that you want to talk about, put them in the comment section. Who knows, you may be one of the focal points in some of our future discussions here on Unbound. Today we're going to be talking about the whole concept of appeasement. I wonder how many of you have gone into the mode that says, it's just a whole lot easier to just do whatever I have to do to keep that person off my back. But then in the meantime, you have so many built up and piled up strains and struggles on the inside that it comes with a price. And that is such a common theme that we hear when I talk about individuals who are engaging with strongly narcissistic individuals. Now, I've got one short question, and then I've got another longer one where a person kind of goes into a little bit more detail about her circumstances. But let's just dive right in. The first question, a person writes in and says, is appeasement a form of defensiveness used by powerless or peaceful people? Well, let's break that down. First of all, is it a form of defensiveness? And the answer is yes. I mean, when we talk about defensiveness, we're talking about you having a sense of anxiety that's been stirred up on the inside of you, and rather than responding directly to the impetus for that anxiety, you just kind of go into a mode where you just avoid having any more problems and strains than is necessary, at least that you think in the moment. And so there's a whole lot of avoidance, avoidant kind of behavior that's a part of it. So is it a form of defensiveness? The answer is yes. But then I'm going to balk a little bit on that next question, or the next part of it, used by powerless or peaceful people. Peaceful, maybe, but powerless. I balk at that word because it's kind of in the same category as the word can't. I can't do this, or I'm powerless. It's like, no, we're gonna have to skirt around that one. Yes, it's a form of defensiveness, and it's utilized by people who might assume that they're powerless, but in fact, maybe they're not as powerless as they might assume, and we're gonna address that. Now, I think that first of all, we need to ask, is it even reasonable for you to want to defend yourself when you're in the presence of a narcissistic individual? And the answer is, well, yeah. Not all defenses are entirely wrong. There's a normal defensiveness, and then there's pathological defensiveness, and you can guess where the narcissist is. Sure enough, narcissists can be pretty despicable in the way that they respond and treat to you and how they treat you. I mean, they want to demand your subordination. They can go into a lot of invalidation. They'll shut down your opinions, and you know that some of them are prone towards raging or punitive kind of responses toward you. And so for you to say, you know what, I don't want to have anything to do with that, I don't really fault you for thinking and feeling that way. These individuals can be so inclined towards harsh anger and blame shifting or victim blaming, if you know what I mean. They victimize you and then they turn around and say, you're the problem anyway. They show no compassion. So for you to say, well, sometimes I just feel like I've got to find the quickest way out, I understand. Now, the question is, when you go heavily into that defensive posture, do you go so far down into the defensiveness that you wind up losing some of your own healthiness? One of the hugest problems that people make when they appease too much with the narcissist is they assign themselves the role of keeping the narcissist calm and steady. In other words, they take responsibility for what's going on in that person's life. Now, it's not as though you may consciously say, I am now going to assume my role as the peacekeeper, and I pick up on that word peaceful that this person has. But in essence, that's what you do. It's like, well, that person over there is not a steady person. That person over there can be unhinged very easily. So I guess it's my job to keep that person from going off or for having a really bad day when I don't really feel like it. And that's when you look at it that way, it's like, nah, that's not exactly the role that you would want or need. So that's one of the biggest problems that can come. You take too much responsibility. And then there's another problem that comes along with being defensive in your appeasement of the narcissist. And that is you wind up developing a pattern of life that's built upon dishonesty. And I so remember I was talking in an anger workshop. This was years ago. I was discussing the need to have assertiveness versus suppression. And one of the things I mentioned was when you suppress too much, you wind up being dishonest. And this one woman, she was a very virtuous kind of person. She just spoke right up and said, well, I don't ever think that anybody would call me a dishonest person. And she kind of took offense at it. But then when you think about it, there are all sorts of little micro lies that you say. You know, for example, let's suppose that you're just steaming on the inside, and then someone comes along and says, are you okay? And you say, yeah, I'm all right. Well, no, you're not. Or when you think, well, I'm just going to go along and get with the program so the narcissist will assume that I'm feeling a whole lot more encouraging or coordinated with that person than I really am, that's dishonest. And so there are times when you wind up having a dishonesty, and it's part of the rot that you feel from the inside out. So yeah, appeasement can be a part of a healthy form of defensiveness, kind of, sorta. But when you begin realizing these other agents come along with it, that's when you know I'm starting to get into some personal psychological problems. Now, let's take up another question, and then we're going to get some thoughts on this too. This person says, I grew up in a family dominated by a father who ruled via fear. To say he was unhinged with his anger would be an understatement, and I can only imagine what that must have been like for this person. I learned that the only way to get out alive was to toe the line and suppress. Okay, in other words, I think you're suppressing. That's kind of what it says. Now, to no one's surprise, I'm married to a man who is different in many ways, but who is also dismissive and uncaring toward me. I wonder how that happened. Inside, I want to scream, but I go back to my old ways of suppressing. My question is, how can I get out of this trap? I want to go back and pick up on that word in the first question, and then we're going to apply it to this lady's specific situation. This first question, recall, it says, is appeasement a form of defensiveness used by powerless people? One of the things the narcissist wants you to understand and know for a fact is you are powerless. I'm the one who's in control. I'm the one who calls the shots around here. I'm the one who does the primary thinking. And of course, many of their tactics towards you are in fact power tactics. This explains why they become so angry when you don't go along with their program. The fact that they're protesting so harshly against you says that they're threatened by you, and they don't want you to have any kind of agency of your own. But you see, there's something that narcissists don't understand that I'm hoping you can make central, and that is you're a free person. You're a free agent, and it's not your job to hand over your will to another individual. It is your job to ask, who will I be? And so this takes us to one huge word that you hear guys like me use constantly, and it's the word boundaries. If you're going to be, this person asks, how am I going to get out of this trap? If you're going to get out of the trap, you need to make yourself very familiar with the word boundaries. Now, keep in mind that boundaries means that you have a well-conceived definition of who you're going to be. What traits, what characteristics do you want to have? What are your values? What are your preferences? What are your priorities? And it's well conceived. And it's based upon decency and goodness and a sense of meaning I'm hoping that you can have. And then in addition, it means that you are willing to say, well, I'm going to act upon those characteristics that I have defined as a part of a healthy me. And sometimes that means I'm going to say no. Or sometimes that means you say to the narcissist, I know that you have this interpretation, but I don't share the same. Or I have a different preference, or I have a different priority, and you stand up for yourself. When you suppress, like this person says, what you're saying is, I've got some self-preservation initiatives that I could utilize, but I choose not to. Well, the only way you're going to get away from the defensiveness that you have hid yourself behind, and the only way you're going to be able to cease the unhealthy suppression and appeasement is to say, I know who I am, and I'm going to stand up. Now, know that the narcissist is going to very strongly come back and say to you something to the effect of, you'd better not, or I'm going to make you pay. And that's on them. You're not required to have to buy into that. So and by the way, I have a course. It's called This Is Me. I'm not very good trying to become somebody that I'm not. And we have a whole lot of ideas and concepts and all that we can pick up on that. So that might be something you want to look into as well. But are you stuck to the point that you're powerless? No. Will it be difficult knowing that the narcissist is not going to like it? Yeah, probably. But then the question is, are you unhappy enough and in enough pain to where you'll say somebody in this equation needs to take care of me, and I'm going to go ahead and step up to the front of the line on that one. That's what I'm hoping you'll do. You're not powerless. You can be a person of peace. And if the narcissist remains unhinged, that's not your responsibility to maintain. You don't have to maintain their personal well-being because it's going to fail every time. So I hope this gives you some good thoughts. I know many of you are in this same boat, and so if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. We're going to keep more coming towards you. I really like this Unbound format. I hope it's something that resonates well with you as well. Now, you know that I have my sponsors, and I select my sponsors because I know that they have services that can help you. One of my primary sponsors, of course, is BetterHelp.com. If you need somebody that can help you sift this out and walk you through some of the processing so that you can get unstuck, then please go through the link that we have below and get the help that you need. Also, I mentioned my courses. I do have courses that will address issues like this. We do have, in fact, This Is Me and Anger Games and Free to Be and Ready, Set, Connect about having healthy connections. They're all on my website. I also have my webinars. They're 90-minute PowerPoint presentations, plenty of articles, my books. We have lots of resources for you. That's what it's there for. So I know that many of you can relate to these people. Yeah, I get myself into a form of defensiveness. I feel powerless. I feel stuck. But in fact, you're only as stuck as you allow yourself to be. At some point, I'm hoping you can say, you know what, I'm worth the initiative. Somebody in this equation needs to stand up for me, and today that person's going to be me. I hope that it's a mindset that you can hold on to unapologetically. And then when the narcissist comes against you, you stick to your guns anyway, and you stand firm. So, Team Healthy, stay with it. Thank you for sending these questions in. Like I say, if you have other questions you'd like to have answered or you'd like to explore, put them in and we'll get to them in further episodes.